Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking with Artists. My name is Mina Stone. I'm the chef and owner of Mina's Restaurant at MoMA PS1. I wanted to interview different artists and have them share something personal about cooking and food from their world. My hope is that it shines a light on the essence of who they are, their work, and hopefully who we are as a society.
When I was a kid, I drew and built my worlds a lot. So it would be like any kind of, I would actually call them setups or like I would make maps of places and then models and kind of like mix toys together and make a lot of toys. There was a lot of masking tape and like, pencils and matchboxes and thread and string and like Elmer's glue, kind of like sticking Legos to pine cones and all kinds of things like this. So there was a lot of making. And I think as an adult, as like a childish adult, I'm still doing that thing of storytelling through like drawing maps of places and world building. When my children were really young, I do remember this moment where I was thinking, like parenting is hard, and it takes time away from my studio. And how am I supposed to get any work done if I have to be at home? There was this like energy about that and tension about like how can I do, and then as the children are getting older, they're like now they're just in the next month they're going to be 8 years old and 12 years old. And there isn't a moment that's this beautiful time when all of a sudden you're like making, like I was like making a little sculpture on the table, on the dinner table. And like when you make things at home, it's just totally, the children look at it and they're like, well, I want to make things too. And then all of a sudden it's like lunchtime. So there's like lunch on the table. Like it might just be like plates of like hot pockets with like carrot slices and glasses of milk, or it could be whatever they're like eating that day. And they are like, the oldest one is like making a painting and the youngest one is like building a car out of a piece of cardboard, and I'm working on something, and there's like tools and glue guns and like food and like French fries. And and then I remember like taking stock of this and thinking, this is like a family flow. And there is so much kind of like love in this scene here. And like, what was I worried about? I get to like read their energy of making things. And, as like children make things that are straight from the heart. And they decide what things are. Like, this is a space station. And you're like, okay. And yeah. The way that like something like cooking and eating and like socializing and art making, the way that all of those things can flow together in our professional world, in our personal world, very easily. I think of cooking like dance as being a language in a way that like you can kind of see something and riff on it. I was making these protest posters the other day, and there's like a lot of things. There's a lot of people coming to and going through spaces and parts and pieces moving around. And that's always been an aspect of the way that I make things. It's kind of like I'm kind of like a hopeless maximalist. Like I'm afraid of white spaces, really. It's just, I'd rather have a lot of, a lot of languages and a lot of opinions and a lot of colors and a lot of forms and all different shapes and sizes. And I certainly think about an eclectic, dynamic collection of forms and people and sounds and smells and tastes and ideas. And yes. When I was in art school, I watched a Julian Schnabel film called Basquiat, and where like Jeffrey Wright plays Basquiat and Gary Oldman plays a character that's kind of like Schnabel, and they're having lunch in an art studio, and there's a table, and in the scene there's like they're each having a bowl of spaghetti, and there's a bottle of Pellegrino there, and there's a glass of red wine. And I remember looking at that and being like, someday I'm going to have lunch in my studio with a friend. And when I got this studio that has this kind of where I could build a long table, I thought I'm finally going to have, and I got like a 2-burner little stove and like a big toaster oven and like a dorm fridge, you know, and like I went to IKEA and I got some like 99-cent plates and, you know, forks and knives. And my first meal that I had there, I wanted to do a thing just for me and an artist friend, and it turned into a dinner for 30 people, which was like really out of control. And I probably at that dinner I made tacos for people where I was plating them on these huge plates and like kind of I was like constructing them, and really big bowls of guacamole, and there was always like tequila and tecate, and then this one dish. It's a salad that has mango, cucumbers, pineapple, or yellow melon, and like lots of lime juice with cilantro, and these like I think they're called like Thai bluebird chilies, like these really small red chilies that are chopped up, and it's a really colorful, bright, kind of very fresh thing that goes really well with those other dishes. It's definitely something about this arrangement of dishes that where dishes don't match and everything's a bit chaotic, but there's this like kind of like gorgeous visual aspect to it. You know, like I'd almost serve it and say like, okay, now don't touch it. Okay, now you can eat. Okay, but wait, let me take a picture first. Or, you know,